For years, the electric vehicle revolution has been largely shaped by a handful of powerful names. Tesla spearheaded the movement in the United States. Legacy automakers like Ford and General Motors scrambled to catch up, and new startups tried to carve out niches in the rapidly growing EV space. But in recent months, a seismic shift has rattled the industry. China, already the world's largest producer of electric vehicles, has unleashed a new kind of competitor onto the global stage. An electric car that costs just $10,000. And now it has set its sights on the US market. The phrase game changer often gets thrown around, but in this case, it's more than fitting. The entry of a shockingly affordable Chinese EV threatens to rewrite the rules of competition, rattle established players, and dramatically expand access to electric mobility for millions of Americans who had previously considered EVs out of reach. At the same time, it raises a host of questions about quality, safety, geopolitics, and the long-term future of American automakers. This moment may well be remembered as the beginning of a new era in the electric car race, a disruptive price point. For decades, cost has been the single biggest barrier to electric vehicle adoption in the US. While Tesla's sleek models captivated imaginations, their price tags often soared well above $40,000, putting them out of reach for middle-income households. Even more affordable EV options from Chevrolet, Nissan, and Hyundai still hovered around the $30,000 mark, often before tax credits. That's why the sudden arrival of a fully electric car, priced around $10,000, has sent shockwaves across the industry. For many American consumers, this number sounds almost unreal. How could a modern EV cost less than a used Toyota Camry? And yet, the Chinese manufacturers have managed to achieve exactly that by leveraging massive economies of scale, streamlined supply chains, and aggressive government support back home. While skeptics immediately raise questions about quality and features, the appeal of such a low entry price cannot be overstated. For working-class families, young professionals, and even college students, the dream of owning an EV suddenly becomes a tangible reality. It is not merely about transportation. It's about access to a cleaner, cheaper way of commuting that had previously seemed reserved for the wealthy or eco-conscious elite. The appeal beyond the price tag. Of course, affordability alone doesn't guarantee success. If the $10,000 EV were little more than a flimsy, stripped-down novelty, it would not be making headlines. But these vehicles are surprisingly practical. While they may not boast the long-range batteries or luxury features of higher-end EVs, they are designed for urban environments and short commutes. Many offer ranges between 150 and 200 miles per charge, more than enough for the vast majority of daily driving needs in the US. They also come with modern amenities that appeal to younger buyers. Touchscreen displays, smartphone integration, and compact designs perfect for city driving. In a way, they feel less like traditional cars and more like a blend of personal mobility devices and compact vehicles, futuristic in their minimalism, yet functional enough for everyday life. A headache for American automakers. The arrival of these budget-friendly Chinese EVs poses a nightmare scenario for American automakers. Companies like Tesla, Ford, and GM have invested billions into developing their EV lineups, but their pricing strategies remain anchored in the mid to high-end segments of the market. Tesla's cheapest model, the Model 3, still hovers near $40,000. Even Ford's much-hyped Mustang Mach-E starts well above $40,000, while GM's Chevy Bolt, one of the more affordable options, costs more than double the price of the new Chinese offering. The question then becomes, how do US automakers compete? It's not just about lowering prices. They face structural disadvantages in labor costs, supply chain efficiency, and battery production. China has spent years building an unrivaled advantage in battery manufacturing, giving its automakers a cost edge that is difficult to match. For Detroit, this is not merely competition. It is a direct threat to survival in an increasingly globalized market. Consumer excitement versus political pushback. While many American consumers are eager to see cheaper EVs, the political establishment is far more cautious. Tensions between Washington and Beijing have been running high, and the idea of Chinese automakers flooding the US market is bound to trigger heated debates. Lawmakers will likely raise concerns over national security, data privacy, and economic sovereignty. Questions about whether Chinese EVs meet American safety standards and environmental regulations will also dominate discussions. Tariffs, trade restrictions, and regulatory barriers may slow down the entry of these vehicles, but it is hard to imagine that they can be stopped entirely. Global markets have a way of forcing change, and if American buyers want affordable EVs, manufacturers and policymakers will find it increasingly difficult to resist the tide. The shift in consumer expectations. Perhaps the most profound impact of the $10,000 EV is psychological. It changes what consumers believe an electric car should cost. Until now, many Americans accepted the idea that EVs were inherently more expensive, an investment in both technology and environmental responsibility. But if a fully functional EV can be sold for the price of a used gas-powered sedan, the narrative changes completely. Suddenly, buyers will demand more from automakers. Why should they pay $40,000 for a vehicle when another company offers something functional for a fraction of the price? Even if the Chinese EV does not capture a majority of the market, it forces every competitor to rethink their pricing models and product strategies. In this sense, the car's arrival is less about direct sales and more about redefining the baseline for the entire industry. The global context. China's EV invasion is not an isolated phenomenon. The country has already transformed the electric vehicle landscape in Asia, Africa, and parts of Europe. In cities across the world, Chinese-made EVs and electric buses dominate roads, supported by their unbeatable affordability. Their expansion into the U.S. market was only a matter of time. For Beijing, this moment represents more than economic opportunity. It is a chance to establish technological leadership in one of the most transformative industries of the century. Just as Japan once challenged Detroit with fuel-efficient cars in the 1970s and 1980s, China is now positioning itself as the global powerhouse in electric mobility. The implications extend far beyond cars. They touch on energy policy, trade relations, and even national identity. Challenges ahead. To be clear, the road ahead for Chinese EVs in America will not be smooth. Safety certifications, regulatory compliance, and consumer trust will all be hurdles. There will be critics who dismiss these vehicles as cheap knockoffs or who raise concerns about reliability and longevity. There will also be lobbying efforts by American automakers to restrict or tax their entry. Yet history shows that once affordable alternatives hit the market, they rarely go away. Whether it was Japanese cars, Korean electronics, or Chinese smartphones, consumer demand for value has always proven stronger than protectionist measures. The $10,000 EV may face obstacles, but its arrival signals a change that cannot be easily reversed. What this means for the future. The invasion of a $10,000 Chinese EV into the U.S. market is more than just a business story. It is a cultural turning point. It challenges the notion of who gets to lead in innovation and who sets the standards for the future. It also opens the door for millions of Americans to join the EV movement, accelerating the transition away from fossil fuels. For automakers, it is a call to action. They must innovate faster, cut costs more aggressively, and rethink what consumers actually want in an electric vehicle. For policymakers, it raises difficult questions about how to balance economic competition with national security and environmental goals. And for consumers, it may be the moment when owning an EV goes from being a luxury dream to an everyday reality. The $10,000 EV may not be perfect. It may not be as sleek or powerful as a Tesla or as rugged as a Ford pickup, but it represents something far more disruptive: the democratization of electric mobility. Its arrival on American soil is a reminder that the future of transportation will not be shaped by comfort zones or corporate traditions. It will be shaped by the forces of global competition, consumer demand, and the relentless pursuit of affordability. The U.S. market has been shaken before by foreign automakers, but this moment feels different. This time, it's not just about better gas mileage or stylish design. It's about rewriting the economics of an entire industry. The shockwaves are only beginning, and the ripple effects will be felt for decades to come. So buckle up, because the age of the $10,000 EV has arrived, and it is here to change everything. That was all from us today for this video, folks. For more similar content, make sure to subscribe to the channel Rev Without Roar. See you in the next one.